Denny Hamlin defended 2311 Racing co-owner Curtis Polk after NASCAR targeted him in an aggressive and revealing letter. On the Actions Detrimental podcast, Hamlin discussed NASCAR's countersuit against 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, and defended Polk after NASCAR questioned his grasp of the sports business. And Hamlin didn't take NASCAR's provocation lightly. But before we get into Hamlin's NASCAR bombshell, let's take a look at NASCAR's most recent countersuit, which seeks to destroy 2311 Racing. According to Jeff Gluck of The Athletic, NASCAR has filed a counterclaim against 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports, naming and targeting Curtis Polk, Michael Jordan's longtime business partner, as a defendant. According to Fox Sports' Bob Pockrass, the stock car racing series is alleging a conspiracy and agreement in unjustifiable restraint of interstate trade and commerce, which would violate Section 1 of the Sherman Act. In a 30-page court document, NASCAR argues that all three willfully violated the antitrust laws by orchestrating anti-competitive collective conduct. In the suit, NASCAR referred to the teams as an illegal cartel, alleging that they, led by 2311 co-owner Polk, agreed to a scheme to pressure NASCAR to accept their collusive terms, including by engaging in media campaigns, interfering with NASCAR's broadcast agreement negotiations, threatening boycotts of NASCAR events, and engaging in a group boycott of a NASCAR team owner council meeting. It is truly ironic that in trying to blow up the charter system, 2311 and FRM have sought to weaponize the antitrust laws to achieve their goals, the claim reads. That is because the undisputed reality is that it is 2311 and FRM, led by 2311 owner and sports agent Curtis Polk, 2311 FRM and Curtis Polk collectively, counterclaim defendants, who willfully violated the antitrust laws by orchestrating anti-competitive collective conduct in connection with the terms of the 2025 charter agreements. Polk played an active role in this illegal conspiracy, NASCAR said, by representing all teams in negotiations, coordinating their conduct, and threatening teams that considered leaving the conspiracy, and interfering and negatively affecting NASCAR's attempts to renew its media rights agreements. This past October, 2311 and Front Row filed an antitrust action against NASCAR and its CEO Jim France, accusing them of unlawful monopolization of premier stock car racing in order to enrich themselves at the expense of premier stock car racing teams. The antitrust complaint arose from 2311 and Front Row's refusal to sign NASCAR's final charter proposal last September at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Teams negotiated a 2-year extension of the original 2016 charter agreement before it expired on December 31st. They made demands including making charters permanent, which NASCAR declined to include in its plans. The final proposal was submitted at 6 p.m. ET on Friday, September 6th. NASCAR allegedly set teams a 6-hour ultimatum to sign, threatening to eliminate the charter system altogether for 2025 and beyond, if they did not. Among the 15 Cup Series teams, only 2311 and Front Row remained. According to Gluck and Jordan Bianchi, the final offer featured a roughly 50% boost in team earnings from NASCAR's record $1.1 billion per year television deal, which began in 2025 and will extend through 2031. As part of the complaint, 2311 and Front Row requested a preliminary injunction, allowing them to compete as chartered teams in 2025 while the dispute was still pending. Both teams got a preliminary injunction 2 months before the current season began. In its countersuit, NASCAR seeks a new injunction to prohibit guaranteed entry under the charter agreement if the teams pursue legal action against them. That an injunction be issued to grant such relief as is necessary to restore competition, including the elimination of Section 3.1(a) of the 2025 charter agreement, which provides for guaranteed entry into Cup Series races if counterclaim defendants persist in seeking to have the charter agreements declared as unlawful under the antitrust laws, the claim's text states. NASCAR is not seeking an instant injunction. That will be part of the jury trial, which is slated for December 1st. So what did Hamlin have to say about this NASCAR stunt? My favorite was saying that Curtis doesn't know NASCAR business, Hamlin said. That's like saying a chef doesn't know how to cook. He's built Michael Jordan's empire for the last 30 years. The guy knows the business. He's been doing it for 5 years. Curtis has just been fantastic for our team, and certainly a pioneer, I believe, and a trailblazer for new ideas that our team uses every single time we hit the racetrack, and how we do business and certain things. I can tell you this personally that I'm proud to be in business with him. Last Monday, NASCAR filed a countersuit against 23XI and Front Row, alleging that the parties embarked on a strategy to threaten, coerce, and extort NASCAR into meeting their demands for better contract and financial terms. This was in reaction to 23XI and Front Row's launching an antitrust complaint against NASCAR on October 2nd, alleging that it violated the Sherman Antitrust Act. In the countersuit, NASCAR said, Polk put this plan into action during 23XI-led negotiations on behalf of the members of the Race Team Alliance, RTA, seeking to extract more favorable financial and non-financial terms than in the 2016 charter. Polk played an active role in coordinating the counterclaim defendants' concerted actions, negotiating on behalf of all RTA members when engaging with NASCAR on terms such as the payments the teams would receive as part of the 2025 charter. Polk sent multiple requests to NASCAR on behalf of all RTA members, demanding changes to the 2025 charter and otherwise threatening that the RTA members would take adverse group actions if such demands were not met. Polk's individual role was at the very center of the plot to use collusive behavior to extract more favorable commercial terms from NASCAR in the charter negotiations. Curtis Polk co-owns 23XI Racing with Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. The squad has 3 full-time Cup Series drivers, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, and rookie Riley Herbst. Since its debut in 2021, 23XI has won 8 Cup Series races and 1 regular season Cup Series championship, Reddick in 2024. But Hamlin wasn't the only one to criticize NASCAR. 23XI's attorney also had harsh words for the organization. Following the revelation, 23XI and FRM attorney Jeffrey Kessler issued a statement criticizing NASCAR's decision, as Adam Stern of the Sports Business Journal posted it on X, formerly known as Twitter. Today's counterclaim by NASCAR is a meritless distraction and a desperate attempt to shift attention away from its own unlawful, monopolistic actions. NASCAR agreed to the joint negotiations that they now attack, the statement from Kessler read via Stern. When those joint negotiations failed, they used individual negotiations to impose their charter terms, which most of the teams decided they had no choice but to accept. My client's lawsuit has always been about transforming NASCAR into a more competitive and fair sport for the benefit of drivers, fans, sponsors, and teams because of their love of the sport. Every major sport goes through a transition to competition when antitrust claims are asserted, and that moment has come for NASCAR. Today's baseless filing changes nothing. We are confident in the strength of our case and look forward to presenting it at trial. Kessler has some strong comments for NASCAR's counterclaim. It is clear that 23XI and FRM have no intention of changing their stance, but the sport's governing organization is also standing firm. Someone will have to blink at some point, but it does not appear that this will happen soon. As the legal battle between NASCAR and 23XI Racing intensifies, it's clear that both sides are digging in for a long and heated fight. Denny Hamlin has made it clear that he fully supports Curtis Polk, dismissing NASCAR's claims that Polk lacks the necessary business acumen to negotiate on behalf of race teams. On the other hand, NASCAR continues to push its narrative that 23XI and Front Row Motorsports orchestrated a scheme to strong-arm the organization into compliance. The upcoming trial in December could be a defining moment in NASCAR's history, setting a precedent for team ownership rights, financial structures, and the power dynamics within the sport. Will this case lead to a long-overdue restructuring of NASCAR's business model, or will it cement NASCAR's control over its teams for years to come? And what does this mean for the fans? Will the tension off the track impact what we see on race day? Could this divide force unexpected changes in team alliances, sponsorship deals, or even the overall competitiveness of the Cup Series? Let us know your thoughts. Do you think 23XI and Front Row are in the right, or is NASCAR simply protecting its own interests? Could this legal battle shape the future of stock car racing for better or worse? Should more teams stand up against NASCAR's authority, or does the governing body need to maintain its stronghold to keep the sport intact? The drama is far from over. Stay tuned as this story continues to unfold.